Hello, my name is Ssenkaayi, Alcom Perfections. Today I'm here to present to you about how to find yourself and tap into yourself to become the person that you're created to be. Don't miss. No one is going to change our lives, it is us to change our lives. No one is going to help us, it is us to help ourselves. People don't help you until when they see you're worthy of being helped. No one will respect you. Even in your home, your wife cannot listen to you if you don't know who you are and where you're going. Even in life, you'll never be heard or listened to unless you're a person of value. So we need to create this value and elevate ourselves to positions where we want the opportunities to find us. If you're told by someone, I don't know, that you have 1 year to live, how would you live your life? From today onwards, what would you do? You know, the greatest tragedy in life is waking up every morning. You leave your bed when you still have the sleep in you. You take a cold shower. You become angry to the challenges of life, even at home. You force yourself to sit in a vehicle if you have one. If you don't have one, you maneuver through the path that you go through from home to the main road to get a taxi. You sit with someone you don't know how they spend their night, Some don't even smell well. But you endure the pain. You sit in your car, you endure the traffic. But what you're striving for is to make sure that you're at work by 7:30 or 8. Why? Because professionally you're expected to be there by that time. And maybe your boss says you're supposed to be there by 8. Then you sit in an organization that you hate, but just because you're getting money, you continue to sit there. You relate with people you don't like, and you go through a day under the pressures of your boss expecting results, and at the end of the month you get a salary, but you have a home, you have a life to live, and then all of a sudden time comes and it is you to live, and you never lived at all. I want you to imagine the kind of life that we live every day. Someone waking up in the morning. You know, one day Helen Keller was asked, she was born okay, but as she was growing up, she got an illness and she became blind. And she was asked, what is the worst thing about being blind? And she said, the greatest tragedy is not about being blind, but having sight without a vision. Having life and not know why you have it. They remind us every day that the two most important days in our lives is the day you're born and the day you find out why. But the challenge for humanity, the challenge for all humans, if you find them along the road or in offices, they don't know why they exist. And deep inside the spirit of every human, there are questions. They are trying to find out what is that something, but the challenge is they don't know exactly what they're even asking themselves. Why am I here? We do things that don't even make us happy. We do them, sometimes we even do them for money. So each of us must ask ourselves, why do you still have a breath in your lungs? As we are talking right now, some people are dying. Some people have everything, but they are dying. For us to still breathe properly and not have any illness is not that we are so good before God, but it is because there is something we are here to do that we haven't done. And when my grandfather was dying, fortunately I was there. He said, in life you don't regret the things you've done, because what you've done, you've done. But in life you regret the things you could do but refused to do because you kept on postponing them. There are some things that we know we are supposed to do, but because of the environment, because of the life we live, we have kept on postponing them, thinking that there will be some right time someday to do what we are supposed to do. My father always reminds me that the time is always right to do what is right. But the question is, do you know exactly what you're supposed to do? It is very absurd to wake up in the morning, drive your car, go and sit in someone's company or someone's organization or in your own business and not know how far you're going to move, how far and how many years you're going to be there, and for how long are you going to be doing what you're doing. Because the honest truth is, all of us, we are doing things. Most of us do things not because we love them, but because we need to live. And unfortunately, we live an average life. Last time we looked at the principles of success, and we said you need to have a purpose. From purpose, you need to have a passion. From passion, you need to have a plan. From plan, you need to have people, the right people. You need to be persistent, and you need to pray. But we say that all of us are working to be great, working for greatness. I've never found a human being that was working to be average. All of us want to be great. But the challenge is, some of us think that having a lot of money will make us great. I always give this example, but don't take it. Don't concentrate on it. We have two people, Anne Kansime and Chirumira. Chirumira is a rich man. I mean, he's wealthy. He has a lot of money. If we are seated here and they tell us, someone whispers to us that Chirumira is passing down there, none of us here, I'm sure about this, none of us here would even look there. But if they say Anne Kansime is passing, all people look at her, not because she has what Chirumira has, but because she's great. We said greatness is a product of influence. Influence is a product of significance. Significance is a product of value. Value is a product of refinement. Refinement is a product of uniqueness. Uniqueness is a product of a gift, and the gift is given by God. So to be great, you need to go back to your spiritual maker and understand your gift. Your gift is something that separates you from other people. That is your uniqueness. When you find your gift, you have found your uniqueness. But we said a gift is given naturally. That is, a talent is given naturally. But every talent must have a skill. But a skill is perfected by hours and hours of practicing your craft. So when you practice, that is what we call refinement. Through refinement, people within your locality or vicinity will begin to realize that you're a person of value. And the more value they see in you, the more significant you become. The more significant you become, you begin to command a lot of influence. And the more influential you become great. So what we are looking for is greatness. The Bible says the kingdom of God is in every human. I'm sure the Quran says that. All of us have kingdoms within us. That is why we are called kings. I'll give you a practical example that I know. Ronald Mwenda Mutebi was a crown prince when his father had died. He had performed all the rituals and functions that prepares him or shows him that he was a crown prince, a king. While he was in the UK, he tried to educate himself. He paid his own tuition to study law and journalism. But his father had sponsored and taken many people in the UK who were rich and well off, but they ignored this young boy. He struggled not because he wasn't a royal, not because he wasn't a king, but he was a king without a kingdom. And the day he found his kingdom, the day you find your kingdom, the world begins to serve you, you stop serving the world. You serve the world by finding that kingdom that is hidden inside of us. But the challenge is we don't know what that is. So the challenge or the question that I pose to each and every person here: why do you exist? Why do you still have that breath in you? Why are you here? Because the actions are not more important than the reasons. The reason why I'm here is much more important than my actual being here. If I didn't know why I'm here, I wouldn't be here. So your being here must be important than your actual being here. You know, we spend a year waking up so early in the morning and leaving, work late, go back home late. People eat food from January 1st to December 31st, but they never find time to feed what doesn't eat food. That is the mind. We're not born to live an average life. You were never born, none of us was born to simply live, grow up, get a wife, produce children, take them to school, build a good house, drive a small good car, and then you die. Because the world was created in a way that my success is determined by the number of people whose lives can change because of my contribution. We talked about the concept of a seed, that when a mango tree grows, no one waters it, no one nourishes it with fertilizers. But when it grows and bears the fruits, it never eats its own fruits, never causes people to eat the fruits, never takes the fruits to the market, but every season it will bear the fruits. And we said, even if it is deep in the forest and people see the ripe fruits on the tree, they'll create a way to the tree. And its survival, its security in life is its ability to offer fruits to anyone, whoever is interested. So my question to you is, what are you offering? We are here to talk about purpose, why we're born. The book that I believe in tells me that God knew my journey before I came. When I was thinking about this, I realized that God stood at the beginning of my journey, created it up to the end, then came back at the beginning and asked himself, who will walk this journey? Then my father met my mother. And out of the 600 million sperms, only one was able to hit the egg, and that was me. I never came here to do anything new. I came here to do something that was already completed. Because everything that starts is an indication that it is done. You know, before God created the fish, he created the water. Before he created the birds, he created the skies. Before he created the plants, he created the soil. For whatever he created, he made sure that it is able to fulfill what he had created it for. So if a fish was created to swim and a bird created to fly, what were he created to do? I've never found in my church, I've never found a priest organizing a mass or a service to pray for the fish in the water to swim properly, or the birds to fly. Why? Because swim was created in the fish, and the fish doesn't need prayer or fasting to swim. For as long as it is in water, the fish will swim. So for as long as we're in the right environment, we will swim. But the challenge is, are we in the right environment? You see people that you've left them there. They are slaves in the 21st century. In the 18th century, our grandfathers used to be were taken into slavery by force. Today we take ourselves into slavery by force. You see how the number of young people that are flocking embassies to go to Dubai, to go to Oman, Qatar, Malaysia. Today we take ourselves to slavery. You force yourself out of bed when you don't want. You endure the traffic. You go through lots of hardships to get to work. That is the 21st century slavery. But the challenge is, even if we work so hard and get this money and try to be like we are in the life that we deserve, people are not happy. So what is success, as she was talking about it? Success is not having many cars, is not having a bungalow, is not having a lot of money on your account. Success is your ability to find out why you were created and how far you have moved towards that. In other words, the only person who knows whether you're successful or not is you and your God, because no one knows why you're born. So success is your ability to find out why you exist and moving towards that. A man from the Orient traveled a long way in search of a wise man. Prepared his horse, all the things that he would use on the way, and then started on the journey of looking for the wise man. He traveled for 2 weeks, those are 14 days, looking for the wise man. Then he came across the Himalayas, the mountains of the Himalayas, and he was told that the wise man was hidden in one of the caves in the Himalayas. He tried to go through different rocks and different mountains to find the right one. Then as he was approaching one of them, he saw an entrance, a cave, and he tried to approach to the cave. And when he was about to enter, he shouted, "Wise man, wise man, are you in?" Then after some silence, a guy came out of the cave with a long beard, lots of hair on his head. He was extremely dirty, and this man was known for his wisdom. Then he asked, "Are you the wise man the entire world is talking about?" Then the wise man asked him, "What are you looking for?" He told him, "I want to know where to find my wisdom, where to find myself. I want you to tell me, what am I supposed to do in life?" Then the wise man looked at him for some time and asked him, "What is your horse?" And he told him, "I have it here with me." Then he just went back into the cave. He was telling him that what has made you travel all the way to this place, you're with it. We have whatever we need to become the people we are supposed to be. But there are two things that we must not hear. There are two things in us. There are two persons in us. The first is your brain, and the second is your spirit. The challenge is, by the time you were born, your spirit was old enough to understand why it had been sent on earth. That is why if some of you have young chaps between the age of 3 and 4 or 5, they talk big things. They say big things. I'll be this, I'll do this. Because for them, because they are young and innocent, God opens for them to see their end at their beginning. But as you begin to grow up, that door is closed. So the difference between blacks and whites listen more to their children when they're young. And when they find them, they create an environment and a life that is similar to who the kids are. So that is how they are able to succeed or to do great things at a tender age. But here you have to go through a lot of process, primary, high school, studying nothing almost. Then you go to university, you graduate with a degree but without education. So you have two things in you, the spirit and the mind. The mind believes in facts and does whatever it does based on facts. But the mind doesn't know why you were born. The spirit that knows why it came believes in faith and does whatever it does based on faith. The greatest battle of humanity is within humans. The mind tells you, the spirit tells you, you can be ABCD. But basing on the facts around you, maybe you don't have the qualifications that the world needs. Maybe you feel like you're not worth it. The mind tells you, yes, you want to do a BCD, but these are the facts. I mean, look at yourself, where you come from. Who are you to be that? So the battle is always between the mind and the spirit. People that have done extraordinary things in life are those that have always followed their spirits. Why? Because it is faith. People that live an average life are those that believe in their minds. Whatever the mind says, that is true. Forgetting that what you are created to be, you already know. Each of us here knows what they were created to be. But because we never have time to listen to this sixth voice in us, deep inside, it is suppressed by the facts around us, by the things that we see, the mind interprets. But each of us, when you're quiet, seated somewhere, deep inside your spirit, there is a voice that tells you, be this, do this, go and see this person, participate in this. You might have come here because a friend invited you. But let me tell you, it is no accident that you're here. Every person has a time when they're supposed to know something. So that voice that speaks in you has been suppressed by your mind or by the facts that surround you. They tell you things that you can do, you say, I cannot. Why? Because the mind gives you thousands of reasons why you cannot succeed in it. Yet the spirit believes that that is your calling. So, when we talk about purpose, what is that something that we mean? Sometimes our professions make us believe that maybe we're born to be accountants, we're born to be HRs, we're born to be something. But even there are two words, efficiency and effectiveness. What makes you effective at work is your profession, but what makes you efficient at work is your calling. Those that are highly respected in their workplaces are not because they are too professional, better than each and every person in that organization, but there is something extra they do that other people cannot do. Or there is something they do, and they do it in a way that any other person within that organization cannot do. So efficiency is a son or a child of a gift. So your spirit knows, but the mind is fighting it. So the thing in you that keeps on talking to you when you're seated there, that forces you to do things that you do, is not your mind. It is your calling. The whites call it the calling, find your calling, because it keeps on calling you whenever you have a moment to listen. That is why they call it a calling. Your spirit is calling you to do something, but the challenge is what you're being called to do is not going to give you money tomorrow. I remember when I first went to radio, I told these guys, I think last time, Martin Oskachint was supposed to host me on CBS. By then I had just come back from Turkey. I had done small and medium enterprise management. There is only one thing I knew. I was sure of myself, and I believed in myself. So they told Martin Oskachint that a business consultant was coming on the show. But I was tiny, too tiny, and extremely young, I would say young, like 9 years ago. Then Martin Oskachint is not a person who is always smart, puts on his jeans, loves simple life. On that day he was smart, even put on a tie. He was going to host a business consultant. Then a vehicle brought me, I moved out, went at the reception. There is a lady, the lady is still there, she's called Close. I told her I'm supposed to be in Martini's program. And she said, you're the one? I said, okay, yes, I'm the one. And she was a bit frustrated. I think she was expecting someone different. Then they made a call in the studio. They told Martin that the guy is here. After 2 minutes, Martin Oscar came out. Recently I reminded him and he was just laughing. He came out. I was standing aside around the reception. And he asked Pros, what is the person you're talking about? Instead of saying that he's there, she said she used her mouth. But I was looking at her. I kept quiet, because if you don't know what you want, you'll be disappointed and frustrated. Then Martin first looked at me and got disappointed. I saw someone disappointed. He had nothing to do. The program had been, the people had been told that a business consultant is coming. So he had nothing to do, so he went into the studio. The program was supposed to be for 15 minutes. The guy played adverts and made sure that he notified me when it was 5 minutes remaining. Initially, or professionally, when you're being hosted on a show, the host, the person in the studio who is hosting you, introduces you to the audience, introduces the topic, and gives you a foundation upon which to start. But this guy, he never told me a thing, he never said a thing. I saw him putting on his headsets, putting on his headsets and telling me, meaning we were already on air. I didn't know what to talk about. For 1 minute, I was in silence because I didn't know what to say. But he was telling people, the person is here, he mentioned my names, and he told me to start. Then I had to gather myself in 1 minute to say what I believed I knew. But in 3 minutes, I said things that shocked him. Instead of, 5 minutes got over, instead of stopping me, the guy just kept quiet, and I used 10 more minutes past the programmed time. Why? He was shocked about what I was talking about. Then after finishing, he couldn't say a word. I told him, thank you so much for hosting me. God bless you. He could not respond, he could not say a thing. Yeah, he was paralyzed. Then on moving out of the studios, Abe Mchibi, the program's director, and the personnel then, Mr. Robert Kasozi, had moved out of the studio to see who was on air. That is how I got a program on CBS. That is how I started. So sometimes knowing who you are and what you want is the most important thing in life. People cannot believe in you. And when you tell people who you are and what you want to be, and they believe you the first time, just know that is not true. Joseph knew his purpose at the age of 12. He went and told his family that I've dreamt. In my dream, I saw you kneeling before me, bowing down before me, and I was the one feeding you. The father knew the secret, and he kept quiet. Then the big bros said, I mean, this is the last guy. How can he say we were bowing before him? What they decided was to undress him, slaughter an animal, put some blood on his clothes, and throw him in a pit. Come back to his father and told him, wild animals attacked us and Joseph is dead. The father was disappointed, but the guy was thrown into a pit. I imagine him being in a pit and telling himself, but this is not what I saw in the dream. How can I end up here? Yet this is not what I saw. But according to, when you read more and do some more research, he must have been thrown in a pit next to a highway where caravans from Syria used to pass to bring slaves and take slaves. So that is where he was found, picked, and sold to Egypt, not knowing that the dream was to come true after he was sold. So sometimes I tell people that what you see today, if what you see today is not what you saw, then that means what you see is temporary. But the difference between what you saw and what you see today is the process. The process takes us to the principle of planning. That is the third principle. So, what were you born to do? How will you find yourself? The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself into the service of others. What is that something that you can do that you're willing to do even when no one gives you money? What is that something that you can do that you love doing? You just love doing, not because you expect money, but you love doing it. So there are 3 steps that I'm going to share with you. First is get into action. Nike says just do it. That is their slogan. The best way to begin is to begin. So get into action. That's something that you've been thinking about every day for years, and now you're clocking 40, you're clocking 50, you're clocking 30 or 20. That's something you've been thinking about of doing, but you have kept on postponing it. Start doing it from today. You can't know or confirm whether that is your calling until when you begin to do it. And if you're not ready to be embarrassed, or if you're not ready to walk through sewage, life sewage, if you're not ready to be underrated or abused, then just keep yourself where you are. Keep yourself on that island. But I promise you, you're going to live an average life. I always tell myself I don't want to live an average life. I want people in this country, on this continent and in the world to know that there exists a certain small guy in Africa who can do what I do. So what is that something that you've been postponing? Today, put it on paper and resolve to start on it. That's something that you love. You just love doing it. From today onward, start doing it. And listen to more. Listen to your spirit more. Find time alone. Get out of this city. Get out of the confusion. Separate from people. Let me tell you, if you read about all those people that did great things, they always had time for themselves. Separate from the entire world. Go keep quiet and listen to yourself and speak to yourself and have a conversation with yourself. Because let me tell you, what many people don't believe. Yourself, the self in you knows you more than you know yourself. If you begin to listen to yourself, that is the spirit, you'll have a compass of your life. And that is why when you find yourself, you have found a true compass of your life. Whatever you do, whoever you talk to, whoever you associate with is in the line of who you are. So do something. Even if you have a talent, you will never know the talent is there until when you practice and perfect the talent. Every gift has a skill that moves it. So look for the skill by practicing or doing what you believe in. So get into more action too. Start from your spirit. Start from yourself. The people that tried to master this thing, they are I would say the pastors, Pentecostal pastors. They tried to master this art. The problem is, I don't want to judge them, but the problem is they concentrate more on getting something out of it than helping people concentrate and find themselves and be better or live better lives. So start from yourself and ask yourself, why? What do I want? Why am I here? Because every business you see is a solution to a problem. God created all problems, many problems in the world, and He created people. He never created solutions, but He created people. Each person you see out there is a solution to a certain problem. But the challenge is they have failed to find out what their problem is. So ask yourself, what did you come here to solve? So start from yourself. What is that something that you came here to work on? That's something you came here to work on is your business. All those people that have a lot of money, have done great things in the world, never started things they did or they started because they expected money. They started or they did things they did because they wanted to solve a certain problem. In solving a problem, money followed them. Don't wake up in the morning and start looking for money. Wake up in the morning and find a problem to solve. When you find a problem to solve, let people know that you're a solution to that problem, and they will nourish you with what you're looking for. In nourishing you with what you're looking for, you love more of what you do, then you will have found, or you will be living a purposeful life. And lastly, break up with your belief. Break up with your past beliefs. Don't be a prisoner of your yesterday. Don't be a captive of your past. Don't be a captive of your thoughts. Don't be a captive or a prisoner of your job. I want to let you know that one day that job will be done. But the challenge is, will you be able to drive the car that you drive? Will you be able to sustain a life that you're living today? If that money stopped coming every month, if it is in your business, that is good. But if it's not your business, one day it is going to end. Today we have over 256,000 professionals on the streets of Kampala looking for opportunities that are nowhere to be seen. Our economy, our country produces over 40,000 young professionals every year, but our economy can only create 9,000 jobs. And we all know the honest truth. I don't want to talk about it because so many people talk about it. Our economy is in shackles. And the truth is, we don't expect much to change, especially if you follow a discussion between Mutebira and Katsekende. You can know where we're going. And those are the people that are in charge of anything in circulation. So when you listen attentively, you can know what is going on. So in that situation where opportunities are getting more scarce, but people that need them are increasing every day, for every opportunity available, there are over 92 people praying and fasting and practicing witchcraft to have it. Someone is praying so hard to be in your position. Someone is praying so much to be in a spot where you are. So how different are you from all those other people? If your thumbprints are unique and there's never been a person and there will never be a person with the same prints, that means you have something that you're still carrying inside of you. That is your pregnancy. You're carrying a baby, but you have refused to go to labor to give the world that baby. So I ask you to concentrate on those three things. And from today onwards, begin to think about who you are and why you're here. So as you drive back to work, we've taken some more time. People might ask you, where have you been and what have you been doing? Why are you late? If they don't, then you're lucky. But as you drive back or as you walk back to your workplace, ask yourself, why do you wake up every day? I mean, why do you labor so much to go through a lot of hardships, to sacrifice lots of things, and to feel some pain? Why is it that you do things that you do? Is there a reason for your purpose? Is there a reason for your existence? Is there something that other people cannot see? Because whatever you see is a shadow cast by that. Whatever you see is a shadow cast by that you cannot see. What is the object behind your life? So think about this and take some time to find yourself. If you find yourself, you'll be able to help so many other people. So let's focus on that, do what we are supposed to do, and be the people that we are supposed to be. Thank you so much for coming this morning. I wish you such a blessed day.